In this video, I explore infrared range finding. This is a GP2Y0A41SK0F infrared range finding sensor. These are easily available from eBay. As you can see here, the maximum output voltage is a tiny bit over 3 volts. This makes them compatible with 3.3 volt MCUs such as the ESP32. Also note that the usable range is from about 3 centimeters to 40 centimeters. Being optical, it can be affected by the reflectiveness of the object being sensed, although it is surprisingly accurate. I would consider the result to be an approximation of the distance and would not use this for accurate measurement. These will not run on 3.3 volts, so you will have to power it from the 5 volt rail VIN on the ESP32 board. Here's how to wire this to an ESP32. This should go to the red wire and is for 5 volts. Connect this to the VIN pin of the ESP32. This is the ground pin and should connect to the black wire. Connect this to any of the ground pins of the ESP32. And finally, the output. This should be the yellow wire and connects to any input GPIO. I use GPIO 13 for these experiments. That's all you need. No additional components are required. So let's start with the code. SIG is the GPIO that the signal input connects to. Old val is part of the logic to make the program respond only when the sensor output changes. The setup code is pretty straightforward and just enables the serial connection, waits 3 seconds, and also sets the GPIO used for the sensor as an input. Here we read the sensor. Check if it's changed. Record its state, send it out over the serial port, then wait 150 milliseconds to slow it down. So let's have a play. The sensor is held to the battery using blue tack. This setup is just there to raise the height and to keep it steady. Here, there's nothing in the path of the sensor. Now I am slowly moving an object back and forth between 3 centimeters and 30 centimeters. It's not immediately obvious, but the result is quite unstable. A lot of this instability is due to the ESP32's ADC being notorious for jitter. Perhaps if we add a simple graph to the output, we can get a clearer picture. This code is pretty messy, so I won't go through it. It's quick and dirty though, and outputs a nice simple graph of the full range of the sensor. The jittery nature of the readings is pretty bad. Since this is due to the ESP32's ADC, is it even possible to fix it? Well, next we will look at how this can be done mathematically. One possible option is to roll the readings through a buffer of 10 values, then calculate the average. It's a bit of work, but it will stabilize the results, and I have done this quite a few times before. But there is a better way that requires no buffer, and there's a library available. The method is called an Exponentially Weighted Moving Average filter. Go over to GitHub and grab a copy of this library. Here is the modified code for the graphing program. I'll only explain the EWMA related changes. First, of course, we include the library. The alpha value is between 0 and 1. The higher the value, the less smoothing. This is a balance between smooth and responsive and will need some experimenting. Here we create an instance of the EWMA object. You can create as many as you need. This is also where we pass the alpha value. Each EWMA object that you create needs to be reset. The only other thing required is to use it to filter the data being read. Because the object retains persistent data, you cannot reuse an EWMA object. You need to have one for each analog source so the data is kept isolated. So let's see what it looks like with an alpha of 0.1. That looks pretty reasonable and it's quite responsive. Let's drop it to 0.05 and see what it looks like. As you can see, it's very stable. The pauses are because the object is being kept still and the value is not changing. This represents a high level of smoothing but a slow response time. Lastly, let's try the opposite end of the scale at 0.8. Well, now that the sensor has been covered, it's worth looking at what you can do with one. With a sensor that has a usable range of 40 centimeters, the obvious thing would be a simple theremin. So let's add a piezo and some dodgy code. The piezo is on GP2Y0A41SK0F. When we read the sensor, we halve the value to make it more usable for audio. Here, we just set the maximum and minimum limits. If it's within the limits, we play the frequency. Otherwise, we stop the tone. The delay here is essential, as the watchdog timer in the ESP32 will trigger random reboots without it. It sounds like crap, but would be much better if the sensor was used to control an oscillator directly. My simple code is the reason this sounds bad. For a bit of fun, let's change the delay from 5 to 100 and create a simple sample and hold style effect. Now, let's add a quantizer and lock the frequencies to the minor pentatonic scale and see what that sounds like. First, we must use EWMA filtering. I'm using 0.05 for the alpha. We then divide the filtered value by 50 to provide a more useful number range. This mess here converts the analog value into a frequency. Top and bottom limits are set to make out of range values set the frequency to 0. Setting the upper and lower limits is essential to ensure it is silent unless being played. After some experimenting, an alpha of 0.8 and setting the delay to 150 made a fairly melodic sound. That sounds a lot more interesting, and adding some dials for effects could also be useful. While the basic square wave output seems quite useless, it's important to note that analog synthesis often starts by processing a square wave. So now, there's one last question to be answered. Can these be used with Vactrols to create a pure resistive output? If you can do that, you can do anything. VCC goes to the 5-volt rail. The output of the sensor goes here. Experiment with the value of the base resistor. I found 10K worked well for me across the entire distance range. The color of LED needs to be chosen to match the sensitivity of the LDR, or just try red. Any NPN signal transistor should be fine. I used a BC548. Let's try it. If you watch closely, the transistor saturates too early. This was filmed with a 4.7K base resistor. Changing to a 10K resistor fixed this. I hope this video has been helpful. These sensors have huge potential.